I stepped into the graduation party with my kids. My brother scoffed. This was going to be perfect. Why did you come? My daughter asked, don't they want us? I replied, we're leaving. By nightfall, my brother understood what he'd destroyed. The community center buzzed with celebration as I pushed through the double doors, my daughter Emma's hand in mine and my son Marcus trailing behind. White and gold balloons formed an elaborate arch over the entrance, and a professional photographer moved through the crowd capturing moments. Round tables draped in elegant linens filled the space, each topped with centerpieces that must have cost a fortune. My nephew Tyler had just graduated from medical school, and despite everything, I wanted to show support. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence as heads turned toward us. I recognized several faces. My parents standing with Tyler near the cake table, Aunt Margaret with her country club friends, Uncle Jeff and his new wife. There were others I didn't know. People in expensive suits and dresses who carried themselves with the polished confidence of professionals. My brother Daniel stood near the buffet table talking to a distinguished-looking man in a navy suit. His expression shifted from surprise to visible annoyance as he noticed us. He excused himself and crossed the room in quick strides, positioning himself between us and the main party area. His voice was low but sharp enough for nearby guests to hear. Sarah, what are you doing here? His eyes flicked toward Emma and Marcus with barely concealed irritation. This was going to be perfect. Why did you come? Emma's hand tightened around mine. At 7 years old, she understood rejection better than any child should. Marcus, only 5, looked up at the decorations with innocent excitement, unaware of the tension crackling through the air. We're family, Daniel. I wanted to congratulate Tyler. You weren't on the guest list. He stepped closer, blocking our path into the main room. Mom and Dad specifically said close family only. You know how things have been. Close family. The word stung because I knew what they really meant. Ever since my divorce 3 years ago, I'd been treated like a charity case at family gatherings. The single mother who couldn't keep her marriage together, the sister who worked 2 jobs while her brother climbed the corporate ladder, the embarrassment they had to tolerate during holidays. Mommy, Emma tugged on my sleeve, her voice small. Don't they want us here? I looked down at her confused face, then at Marcus, who had stopped admiring the balloon arch and now stood very still, sensing something was wrong. Around us, relatives had gone back to their conversations, though several were still watching from the corners of their eyes. My mother stood near the cake table, deliberately looking away. We're leaving, sweetie, I said, keeping my voice steady. Daniel's shoulders relaxed, satisfied. It's better this way, Sarah. Tyler's got important people here. Colleagues, professors, hospital administrators. It's not really a kid-friendly event anyway. I nodded, turned, and guided my children back toward the door. Emma walked quickly, her head down. Marcus stumbled trying to keep up, and I lifted him onto my hip even though he was getting heavy. Behind us, the party noise resumed. Laughter and congratulations filling the space we had briefly occupied. The parking lot asphalt was hot under the late afternoon sun. I buckled both kids into their car seats. Neither spoke. Emma stared out the window, her small face reflected in the glass, expressionless in the way children get when they're trying not to cry. Marcus clutched his favorite toy car, running it absently along his leg in the repetitive motion he used when he was anxious. Can we get ice cream? Marcus finally asked, hopeful, trying to fix something he didn't understand was broken. Yeah, buddy. We can do that. I sat in the driver's seat but didn't start the engine immediately. The community center loomed behind us, music and laughter drifting through the brick walls. Through the window I could see people moving around inside, celebrating, completely unaware that anything had happened. Or maybe they were aware and simply didn't care. My phone sat in the cup holder. I picked it up and scrolled to a number I'd called earlier that week. The conversation had been brief but necessary. Now it felt like prophecy. 4 days ago I had met with my financial advisor Gregory Morrison at his downtown office. The meeting had been scheduled for months as part of the annual review of the trust fund my grandmother established before she died. Most of the family had no idea it existed. My grandmother had been a quiet woman who made shrewd investments in the 1960s and 70s, buying up properties before neighborhoods gentrified, investing in technology companies when computers were still the size of rooms, building a portfolio worth several million by the time she passed in 2015. She'd split it unevenly, which caused its own drama, though most of the family never learned the full extent of the disparity. Daniel received a comfortable amount, $200,000 paid out over time with strict conditions about education and employment. My parents received their share outright, $500,000 they used to pay off their house and take the European vacation they'd always dreamed of. But the bulk, nearly $8 million, had gone to me with a single instruction written in her elegant handwriting. Use it wisely and never let anyone make you feel small. I'd barely touched it. The interest alone allowed me to quietly pay off my house, build college funds for Emma and Marcus that would carry them through graduate school, and work jobs I actually enjoyed instead of ones that paid the most. I drove the same modest Honda for 6 years, wore jeans from Target and let my family believe I was struggling. It was easier than explaining, easier than watching them treat me differently, easier than becoming the rich relative everyone resented. But that meeting with Gregory 4 days ago had been different. I want to make some changes, I had told him. What kind of changes? My brother Daniel. I've been covering some of his expenses. I want to stop. Gregory pulled up the files. Over the past 5 years, I had anonymously paid the monthly fees for the community center where Daniel held all his family events. When he wanted to send Tyler to that expensive medical school, I created a scholarship fund that covered 60% of the tuition. The new car Daniel drove? I co-signed the loan and made half the payments through an LLC, letting him believe he qualified on his own merit. All of it? Gregory asked. Everything. Effective immediately after Tyler's graduation party. Now, sitting in that hot parking lot with my quiet children in the back seat, I sent a single text to Gregory. Proceed. We got ice cream. Emma ordered strawberry and Marcus got chocolate that ended up mostly on his face. We sat at the outdoor tables and I told them stories from when I was little, making them laugh. By the time we got home, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. I bathed them, read bedtime stories and tucked them in. Marcus fell asleep immediately, but Emma looked at me with serious eyes. Are we not good enough for them, Mom? I brushed her hair back from her forehead. Baby, we're more than good enough. Sometimes people don't see what's right in front of them. But that's their problem, not ours. She seemed to accept this and closed her eyes. I waited until her breathing evened out, then went downstairs to pour a glass of wine. My phone rang at 8:43. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again 2 minutes later. Then a third time. On the fourth call I answered. Sarah, what the hell did you do? His voice was panicked. Nothing like the dismissive tone from earlier. I'm having a quiet evening with my kids. What's wrong? The community center just called. They said our account is 5 months overdue. They're demanding payment immediately or they're going to. He paused and I heard paper rustling. They said the anonymous donor who'd been covering it withdrew support. Sarah, that's $1,500 a month. I can't afford that. I thought it was some promotional thing they were running. I took a sip of wine. That's unfortunate. And Tyler's school called. The scholarship fund that was paying his tuition. It's gone. They're saying he owes $68,000 for his final year. How is that possible? He had it all covered. Did he? There was a long silence. I could hear party sounds in the background, but they were muted now, subdued. Sarah. His voice changed, understanding creeping in. Sarah, was that you? This whole time. I need to go, Daniel. Early morning tomorrow. Wait. The car loan. Oh God, the car loan. There was a co-signer, but the bank never told me who. Sarah, please tell me. You stood in front of my children today and told them they weren't wanted. You've spent 5 years treating me like I'm less than you because I got divorced and work regular jobs. You've let Mom and Dad act like I'm an embarrassment. My voice stayed level, calm. I've watched you take credit for opportunities one created, watched you build a life on support you didn't even know existed, and then watched you decide my kids weren't good enough for a family party. I didn't mean. I was stressed. There were important people there. More important than Emma and Marcus? He didn't answer. The community center wants their money. Tyler's school wants their tuition. Your car loan. Well, you'll be getting a call about that too. I've withdrawn as co-signer. They'll want to renegotiate terms based on your credit and income alone. I paused. You might want to talk to Mom and Dad. See if they can help. Though I noticed they didn't think to invite me today either. How much? His voice was barely a whisper. How much have you been paying? Does it matter? Sarah, please. Tyler's graduation, all these people, they're going to know something's wrong. The center manager came up to me right in front of the hospital's chief of staff. This is humiliating. Humiliating, I repeated. Like having your daughter ask why her family doesn't want her? He took a shaky breath. In the background, someone called his name, probably my mother, wondering why he looked upset. I can't cover all this, he said finally. The car payment alone is $800 a month, and without the co-signer they'll probably repossess it. The community center is threatening to sue. And Tyler, he needs that degree, Sarah. He's so close. You have options. You make a good salary. You'll figure it out. In one day. They want the center fees tonight or they're canceling our event contract. We have Mom's retirement party scheduled there next month. And Tyler's loan. They want a payment plan established by Monday or they're holding his degree. The weight of it was hitting him now. 5 years of support, gone in an afternoon. I'd calculated it once with Gregory. Between the community center fees, tuition assistance, and the car loan support, I'd been providing Daniel roughly $45,000 a year. You called me a charity case at Christmas, I said quietly. Do you remember that? You were talking to Uncle Jeff and you said at least you didn't have to support your sister like some families do. You said I'd made my bed and had to lie in it. I was drunk. I apologized. You apologized for me overhearing, not for saying it. Another long pause. The party sounds had stopped. I imagined him standing outside, the reality of his situation sinking in. What do you want? He asked finally. You want me to beg? I'm begging. Tyler doesn't deserve this. He worked hard for that degree. Tyler's a good kid. I have no issue with Tyler. Then help him. Please. I'm done helping people who don't value me or my children, Daniel. Tyler can take out his own loans like most medical students. You can downgrade to a car you can actually afford. And you can find a new venue for family parties. One that doesn't require anonymous donors to keep it within your budget. Sarah. You destroyed something today that you didn't even know you had. My support, my help, my willingness to be invisible while you succeeded. I stayed quiet because I didn't need credit. I helped because we're family. I set down my wine glass. But family works both ways. And when you made my kids feel unwanted, you crossed a line. I heard him breathing, processing. Mom's going to ask where the money went, he said, sounding lost. Then I guess you'll have to tell her the truth. That the sister you've been looking down on has been funding your lifestyle for 5 years. That ought to be an interesting conversation. Everyone's going to know. The hospital people, Tyler's colleagues, everyone at this party. The center manager announced it in front of half the room. By nightfall, I said softly. You wanted a perfect party. I looked out at my modest backyard where Emma and Marcus's toys were scattered across the grass. I hope it was worth it. I ended the call and blocked his number. Then I called Gregory. It's done, he asked. It's done. Set up the education trust for Tyler directly. He can apply for it himself with conditions. Full ride, but he has to maintain contact with Emma and Marcus. 1 visit a month minimum, and it has to be a genuine relationship. If he wants the money, he earns it by being the cousin they deserve. And Daniel's other obligations? Let them stand. He's an adult with a good job. He'll survive. He just won't survive comfortably on my dime anymore. That night I slept better than I had in months. Emma crawled into bed with me around midnight, still processing the day. I held her close and promised her that we were enough. Just the 3 of us, exactly as we were. By morning my phone had 63 messages from various family members. I deleted them without reading and took my kids to the park instead. We spent the whole day outside, just us, and it was perfect.